The ice moon Callisto VII glowed pale blue under the light of 3 distant suns. Through the reinforced windows of Mining Station Delta, Hira Patel watched chunks of ice drift past, occasionally catching glimpses of the mining drones working tirelessly on the surface below. After 5 years as the station's chief archaeologist, she had grown accustomed to the endless white landscape. But today something felt different. The anomaly detector had been beeping for hours. Running analysis again, she muttered, fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The signal patterns made no sense. They were too precise, too structured to be natural. Yet they didn't match any known technological signatures in the galaxy. The door to her lab hissed open, and Zextar, her Andromedian research assistant, ducked his crystalline head under the frame. Dr. Patel, the mining crew hit something at Sector 7. They're requesting your presence. Kira gathered her equipment, heart racing. After years of studying pre-collapse human artifacts, she had developed an intuition for significant discoveries. This felt big. The transport pod carved through the moon's icy atmosphere, descending toward a cluster of industrial lights that marked the mining site. Through the pod's window, Kira could see a crowd of workers gathered around what appeared to be a massive dark opening in the ice. Station Chief Roth, a gruff veteran of the frontier mining industry, met them at the landing pad. "Doctor, you need to see this. We've never encountered anything like it." The group approached the edge of the excavation site. Kira's breath caught in her throat. Below them, revealed by the mining lasers, was a perfectly geometric entrance of dark metal, its surface unmarred by centuries of ice coverage. Ancient symbols lined its frame, symbols she recognized from her studies of humanity's golden age. "Clear the area," she ordered, authority creeping into her voice. "This is no natural formation. We're looking at pre-collapse human architecture." The workers murmured among themselves. Humanity's ancient past was largely a mystery, even to humans themselves. The period known as the collapse had erased most of their advanced technology and knowledge, leaving them to rebuild from scratch. Now, centuries later, they were still considered newcomers to the galactic community, often dismissed by older species. Kira activated her scanning equipment, approaching the entrance carefully. The metal was unlike anything in modern use. A perfect atomic structure that seemed to absorb and redirect light in impossible ways. "Zextar, are you seeing these readings?" she called out. "The power signatures are active. This installation is still running after all this time." Her assistant's crystalline form flickered with excitement, his species equivalent of raised eyebrows. "Impossible. Nothing maintains power for that long." As if in response to their presence, lines of soft blue light began to trace their way across the entrance's surface. Symbols illuminated one by one, and a deep humming filled the air. Kira's handheld translator began decoding the ancient text. "Security Installation 17. Guardian Protocol. Awaiting authorized personnel," she read aloud, her voice trembling with excitement. Suddenly, her personal communicator chirped. It was an urgent message from Earth Command. They had detected the power surge from the installation and were sending a representative. The message ended with a warning. "Share this discovery with no one outside the human delegation." Kira looked up at the massive doorway, its symbols now pulsing with steady light. She knew why Earth Command was worried. If this installation was what she thought it was, a remnant of humanity's true golden age, it could change everything. The major galactic powers had spent centuries treating humans as primitive newcomers, barely worth notice in cosmic politics. That was about to change. A sensor in her pocket began to chime insistently. The installation's power readings were climbing exponentially. Whatever slumbered beneath the ice of Callisto VII was waking up, and Kira had a feeling the galaxy wasn't ready for what they were about to discover. She touched the glowing symbols, and for the first time in centuries, the massive door began to open, revealing a corridor that stretched deep into the moon's icy heart. The air that rushed out was perfectly preserved, carrying with it the scent of human achievement, a legacy that had waited patiently through the ages for its children to return. "Zextar," she said quietly, "I need you to send a message to Station Chief Roth. Tell him to prepare for guests. I have a feeling we're about to have a lot of very interested parties showing up on our doorstep." As if to confirm her words, the installation's systems continued to power up, sending pulses of energy that would be detectable across the sector. Humanity's forgotten past was awakening, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates from 100 worlds shouted over each other, their voices echoing off the crystalline walls. High Counselor Vexterra, a towering figure with iridescent scales, slammed her gravitational gavel repeatedly, but even its thunderous boom couldn't quiet the uproar. "Order," she finally roared. "The Council will have order." In the midst of the commotion, Ambassador Raina Kapoor of Earth sat quietly, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The news of the discovery on Callisto VII had spread faster than expected, and the reaction was exactly what Earth had anticipated. "The humans must surrender control of the installation immediately," demanded the Proximan delegate, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "Such artifacts fall under Council jurisdiction." With all due respect, Raina spoke, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. "The installation was built by humans, activated by human presence, and lies within Earth-controlled space. We will not surrender our heritage." The chamber doors slid open, and Fleet Commander Marcus Santos strode in, his Space Force uniform pristine. The council members fell silent. It was unusual for military personnel to enter their chambers unannounced. "Honorable Council," he began, "I bring news from Callisto VII. The installation has begun transmitting signals to multiple locations across the galaxy. We've identified at least 20 similar facilities, all previously dormant." The silence in the chamber became deafening. Meanwhile, aboard her research vessel approaching Callisto VII, Kira Patel reviewed the data streaming from the installation. Each new discovery left her more amazed. The facility wasn't just a military installation. It was a library, a museum, and a command center all in one. "Dr. Patel," her ship's AI announced, "we're receiving a transmission from Commander Santos's flagship, the Stellar Dawn. They're requesting permission to dock." Kira authorized the docking procedure. She needed military support, not because she feared the Council's reaction, but because of something else she discovered in the installation's databanks, something that had kept her awake for the past 3 nights. The Stellar Dawn was massive compared to her research vessel, its hull bearing the new insignia of Earth's Space Force. As Commander Santos emerged from the docking tube, Kira noticed he wasn't alone. Behind him walked a tall woman with silver-streaked hair and bearing that suggested both wisdom and authority. "Dr. Patel," Santos nodded. "This is Admiral Helena Reyes, head of Project Legacy. She's here about the warning you found." Kira led them to her research lab, where holographic displays showed the installation's most recent data transmissions. The facility's AI has been cooperative, but also insistent. "There's a reason our ancestors hid these installations, and their technology." She activated the main display, showing a star map of the galaxy. Dozens of points lit up, marking the locations of other installations. But beyond them, at the galaxy's edge, a massive cluster of unknown signals pulsed ominously. According to the records, Kira explained, humanity didn't just choose to hide their power. They were preparing for something. The AI keeps referring to them as the precursors, a species that nearly wiped out all life in the galaxy eons ago. Our ancestors fought them to a standstill, then hid their most powerful technologies in these installations, knowing the precursors would return. Admiral Reyes studied the map intently. And now, the AI believes they're coming back. That's why the installations are awakening. They were programmed to activate when they detected the first signs of the precursor's return. The Admiral's expression hardened. "How long do we have?" Before Kira could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. On the main screen, multiple ships dropped out of hyperspace, vessels bearing the markings of various council races. They're demanding we surrender the installation, Santos reported, reading the incoming transmissions. They're calling it a threat to galactic security. Admiral Reyes straightened her uniform. They don't understand. This installation isn't a threat to security. It's our only hope for survival. She turned to Kira. Doctor, can you access the installation's defensive systems? Kira nodded, her fingers already moving across the holographic interface. Around them, ancient machinery hummed to life, and through the viewport, they watched as massive defense platforms emerged from beneath the moon's icy surface. Send a message to Earth Command, Reyes ordered. Tell them to activate Protocol Prometheus. It's time to show the Council why our ancestors were once the most feared and respected species in the galaxy. She paused, watching as more Council ships appeared. And pray we can unite them all before the real enemy arrives. The installation's eye spoke, its voice resonating through the chambers. Alert! Multiple quantum signatures detected at galaxy's edge. Precursor Vanguard approaching. Estimated arrival: 6 months. Kira looked at the others, understanding the weight of what was coming. Humanity hadn't just rediscovered its past. It had awakened just in time to face its greatest challenge. And somehow, they would need to convince a divided galaxy to stand with them against an enemy that nearly destroyed them all once before. The real question was, would the Council races overcome their fear of humanity's recovered power in time to face the greater threat? Awakening giants. Deep within Installation 17, Kira stood before a massive holographic display, watching as ancient systems flickered to life across the galaxy. Each new activation sent ripples through space-time, quantum echoes of humanity's awakening power. Admiral Reyes and Commander Santos worked alongside her, coordinating with Earth Command as more installations revealed themselves. The Council's blockade remained in orbit, their ships maintaining an uneasy distance from the activated defense platforms. Another facility just came online, Kira announced. This one's in the Carina Nebula. She paused, studying the new data. Admiral, you need to see this. The hologram shifted, revealing enormous structures hidden within the nebula's dust clouds. Ships. Hundreds of them, each larger than anything currently flying in known space. Their designs were both elegant and intimidating. Smooth curves and sharp angles blending into vessels that looked more like works of art than weapons of war. The Golden Fleet. Admiral Reyes breathed. They're real. The installation's eye spoke. Confirmation. Primary Defense Force located, awaiting final authorization for full activation sequence. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared. The Council ships were moving, their weapons charging. They're going to attack, Santos warned. They'd rather destroy these facilities than let humanity reclaim them. Admiral Reyes straightened. Dr. Patel, it's time. Initialize the fleet. Kira placed her hand on the control panel. DNA sensors pulsed, recognizing her human genetics. Throughout the installation, ancient machinery roared to life. In orbit, the defense platforms began to glow. To all Council vessels, Reyes broadcast, what you're about to see may frighten you. But remember, we're showing you this because we need you to understand. The enemy coming for us all is worse than anything you can imagine. The installation's energy readings spiked. Across the galaxy, the hidden ships began to stir. Rising storm. The Golden Fleet emerged from its long slumber like a dawn breaking across the galaxy. From nebulae, gas giants, and forgotten moons, humanity's ancient vessels rose. Their hulls, made of smart metal alloys, repaired thousands of years of wear in minutes. On Callisto VII, Kira watched in awe as the full scope of humanity's hidden power revealed itself. The Council ships retreated, their sensors overwhelmed by the energy signatures of vessels that dwarfed their largest dreadnoughts. Alert, the AI announced. Precursor quantum signatures increasing. Time to arrival, revised to 3 months. Admiral Reyes called an emergency session of the Galactic Council, not to ask permission, but to show them the truth. In the council chambers, she played the installation's historical records. The assembled delegates watched in horror as images showed the Precursor's last invasion. Entire civilizations had fallen before humanity rallied the galaxy's species together. The final battle had cost humanity most of their advanced technology, but they had driven the Precursors back. "We didn't hide our power out of shame," Rise explained. "We hid it because we knew they would return. These installations, this fleet, they're not just humanity's legacy. They're our gift to the galaxy. A defense force created by our ancestors to protect all sentient life." In the following weeks, as the Precursor threat grew clearer, old rivalries began to fade. The council races, faced with extinction, turned to humanity for leadership. Kira worked tirelessly to understand the ancient technology, preparing for the coming storm. The Golden Fleet, now fully awakened, began training exercises that lit up entire sectors with their power. Echoes of tomorrow. The Precursors arrived 3 months later, just as predicted. Their black ships emerged from quantum space like a cancer spreading across the stars. But this time, the galaxy was ready. Under Admiral Rice's command, the combined forces of the Galactic Council united with the Golden Fleet. Humanity's ancient vessels led the charge, their advanced weapons tearing through the Precursor forces. Kira, monitoring the battle from Installation 17, coordinated the defense network. The ancient AI helped her unlock weapons that bent space itself, trapping entire Precursor fleets in artificial singularities. The final battle took place in the Carina Nebula, where the bulk of the Golden Fleet had slumbered. The Precursors, facing weapons they had never seen before, found themselves overwhelmed by the very species they had once nearly destroyed. As the last Precursor ship fell, silence spread across the galaxy. In the council chambers, the mood was no longer of fear toward humanity's power, but of gratitude for their foresight. "Our ancestors knew this day would come," Kira addressed the council. "They didn't hide their legacy out of fear or shame. They preserved it, protected it, waiting for the moment when it would be needed most." In the years that followed, humanity shared their recovered technology with their galactic neighbors. The Golden Fleet became the foundation of a new combined defense force, with crews from all species serving together. The galaxy entered a new golden age, one built not on fear of humanity's power, but on the trust they had earned. The installations remained active, their AIs watching the quantum signals from deep space, ready, if needed, to awaken once more in defense of all life. As Kira stood in the heart of Installation 17, now a center of galactic cooperation and research, she smiled at how far they had come. Humanity had not just reclaimed its legacy, it had fulfilled its ancestors' greatest hope, uniting the galaxy not through force, but through protection and sacrifice. The ancient fleet that had once terrified the galaxy now symbolized something greater: the power of foresight, the strength of unity, and the enduring spirit of those who would give everything to protect not just their own, but all of creation.